Hi there, it's Ted. Our next Black Power supplement, we're doing Clash of Eagles. Unlike the other ones, this is a tome. This is a time period where we have large armies, and like the book says, Clash of Eagles. This covers basically the late War of the Napoleonics, basically the Russians, Austrians, the French, the Prussians are the main four protagonists in this book. So the Eagles, uh, and you're talking about large armies. So this is not for the faint of heart. Once you start getting into this period, this is like you're diving into the deep end. Uh, Basically, it's the same layout. It gives you a background that what leads up to it, of all the nations, and it's going to some battles like Borodino. You talk about major battles, but yeah, so most of the battles they cover is the Russian campaign. So it's the late war. Uh, so they really haven't come out with a supplement that covers the middle time period. But even those, some of those battles, you need a whole supplement just on one battle. That's where, because those were epic battles, clashes and stuff. So this one just covers the Russian campaign. It breaks some of these. It breaks down just the battles itself, the history of the battles and stuff like that. Up to the retreat from Moscow through the freezing ice and snow. Then it comes to the armies. This is where we start getting serious. Russia, 1812. Okay, you want to build an army? This is the army. See, it has the background of the Russian army. It has the special rules for them. It said with these special rules they add, you do not have to use these. They this stuff they add, so it gives you a flavor. But I said you can use some or not use any you want. So these are recommendations just to give the flavor of the Russian army. Then it breaks down. Unlike the other books where they have like the army list on one page, they just have one page just of musketeers, firemen, life guard, guard jaggers, grenadiers, Russian infantry. Uh, it's just pages and stuff. They cover everything. Artillery, Cossacks. You can't have a Russian army without Cossacks running around. And yet, heavy cavalry, medium cavalry, light cavalry, more Cossacks. Then the Russian artillery. Lots of Russian artillery. They were famous for their artillery. And you got the Grand Armée. Same thing. You got special rules for the French. And we go into the French armies. Same layout. You got French infantry, the cavalry. Well, the French is basically two armies. You got the French army, then you got the Guard, which is a whole army unto itself. More detail. Get the old guard, middle guard, and young guard. Has them broken down. So you can just do a guard army if you want to. This if you want them guard all the cavalry. You got the Grand Duchy of Warsaw. These are basically the Polish. There was a whole corps of Polish troops, so you can do a Polish army if you want to. That's our infantry cavalry. So this you don't have to do. It's like when I got into this, I painted the Russians and I did a Saxon army before I even painted French. I ran Napoleonic battles without no French. It was all Saxon. So it's not always you think Napoleonic is French or whoever. You can you can do a Polish army if you want to fight Russians or the Prussians or whoever. Yeah, how you want to, Austrians. So you got a lot of flavor. This is the Kingdom of Bavaria. And Victrix just came out with plastic Bavarians. Excellent. You can do the infantry, and you get enough leftover heads from the variant that you can do their cavalry, because the heads, they wear the same helmets for infantry and cavalry. So all you need to do is get some French cavalry, and you can just glue their heads on, and you got Bavarian cavalry. Same thing with the artillery. You use French artillerists, just pop a Bavarian helmet on. You got yourself a Bavarian army. So you can fight these wars with just French allies. You got the Austrians, white-coated Austrians. Their special rules, and it has the breakdown of their forces. So you can do an Austrians, Kingdom of Italy. Basically, yeah, white-coated Italians, which were French allies. It has the same breakdown, special rules for them, and their lines. Kingdom of Saxony. This was the first, one of my first 28 millimeter armies I painted up for Napoleonics of Saxons. So their special rules, their cavalry, their fought. The Prussians has the same layout. One of the easier armies to paint because they weren't very fancy. So if you want to paint armies fast, Prussian armies, way to go. Basically blue, white, and gray for the basic forces. But once you start doing, after the this period, you get into the Waterloo campaign. Then you got reserve forces, landwehr. Then you get colors, black jackets, and a whole bunch of green, whole bunch of other different colors. But the main army was just basically gray, blue, and white. Done. All right, next. Not much fancy. Same thing with artillery. Nothing fancy about them. Westphalia. A lot of his forces, but the only difference was the hats, but not a lot. So you can just use regular French infantry for it if you want to. The Federation of the Rhine. Now this is where you start getting to colorful armies. If you want to do a Confederation of the Rhine, it's like every regiment's a different color. So, because it's made up of different nations, of German states, that you can have a color rainbow effect on the table, different colors from the different countries and stuff. King of Württemberg, and like Württemberg, and stuff like that. They got different kind of helmets. There's a company, Piano Miniatures. They sell STL files. So if you have a resin printer, they sell files where you can just print off miniatures now. So and their files are nice. They got the cavalry and everything like that for them. So if you're looking for some oddball unit, the guy is developing files for armies that are not commonly in plastic or nothing like that. Some of the off-size armies. So if you're looking for somewhat Württembergers, he has those, and you can just print as many as you want. You got Kingdom of Naples, and this kind of breaks down some new rules they added. Said these rules you can use or you can discard them. It's all up to you. You can run them but when we found out too many rules, you just forget about them when you're playing. Especially if you're playing large battles where you got lots, you got thousands of troops. Less rules, the better, because you do forget a lot of them. But I said, look, there's pages and pages of rules. Reaction order, militia, and regimental artillery. This is one of the few things, because most artillery is standalone batteries. But some units, like the Saxon army, had regimental. So you had a regiment, you have an artillery piece attached to that regiment. Little 3-pounders. So a little bit more about rules about command and stuff, staff systems. So I said you can make this as detailed as you want and really get the detail in there, but most time we find out even with simple rules, people forget about it because you get too involved in fighting and stuff, and you just forget about them. But it breaks them down. These rules are in the countries, and I just give a quick rundown of all the rules in the back. Right, a little bit more detail in close combat, and also I add a little weather table, especially in Russia, that you can have rain, snow, fighting in the snow, rain that slows you down, fog. So it adds a little weather effects in the table. So I was like, hey, you got heavy fog that comes in. Oh, nobody sees each other. Until you bump into each other. So that gets fun. The different terrain. Marshes, white woods. It just adds more detail. There's a basic set of rules for this, but this adds a little bit more rules and stuff like that. So either clarifies it or gives the flavor of the period. A lot of it's flavoring. Then we got the commanders from all the different armies: French, Russian, Saxony, staff ratings. Then we get into battles. As I said, this is the Russian invasion, so these battles are not small. A lot of these battles is like 15 millimeter or smaller. You can fit these in there. But even these are scaled down from the real ones. So yeah, even this is scaled down. But yeah, it just has all those different scenarios from all the and some of these scenarios don't even have French in it. It's right. You got the Russians, but then you got all the different other nations: Prussians, Austrians. And it has a quick in the back. This is special stats of the different countries and the special rules they got, and point values for each regiment. See, in this one, if you just want a regular French line infantry, it's 38 points. So you kind of, instead of individually, it just gives you a basic point value of for the regiment, so you can build your forces up a little bit quicker. Or if not, then you can go in the French army and it gives a detailed breakdown. You got French line infantry brigades, you need 1 to 3 infantry brigades. Then you got regular French, light infantry, foreign infantry, regimental artillery, brigade options. So, as I said, you can really deck out your own personal force. You got the cavalry, build your cavalry. Then you got the Imperial Guard, which is 2 pages. So the Guard have a lot, and they're expensive. They're tough, but they're expensive. They cover breaking down all the Guard and stuff. Then you start going into the Vistula Legion, which Polish forces, Grand Duchy of Warsaw, the Saxons, Bavarians, Württembergers, Westphalians, the Federation of Rhine, all lumped into one. French allies. Austrians of 1812, Austro-Hungarians, the Italians, Neapolitans, Prussians. And just a quick overview at the end. And it also has a quick organization of how divisions were lined up and stuff. Different this information on skirmishing, squares, columns. cavalry formations. So, yeah. So this is a very in-depth look. But I said it's not for the faint of heart. Um, this is once you start getting this, this is when you got a large table, a lot of force on the table. So, like I said, you can play as small as you want or as large as you want, but yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. So, but it's that just like any other books, it's lots of good information and stuff, lots of historic information and about units and formations and stuff. So, yep. So until later, guys. Next up will be the British. So see you later, guys. Keep painting, get those guys into the table.